Okay, let's unpack this.
All right.
What if the secret to national wealth wasn't just about innovation or, natural resources,
Okay.
but something far more fundamental? How long and how healthfully people live.
Hmm.
It sounds almost too simple, right? Yet the implications,
Yeah.
they seem staggering.
Simple in its premise, perhaps, yeah. But the report we're diving into today, it really unpacks these profound ripple effects,
Right.
moving beyond just personal well-being to the very uh, foundation of national economic power.
We tend to see long life and good health as just personal things, blessings even.
We do. But what the authors reveal here is how deeply intertwined they are with the nation's economic vitality, its societal strength.
So today we're doing a deep dive into some truly compelling material. It's titled Longevity and Prosperity, The Wealth of Nations in the 21st Century.
By Fuchiwu and Steve 88.
Exactly. And our mission really is to extract the core insights, the calculations from this analysis, and show you how extending healthy lifespans using what the authors call longevity technology, which covers medical breakthroughs, proactive health stuff,
All of it, yeah.
how that isn't just some futuristic dream, but actually a calculable economic reality, like right now.
Indeed. And this analysis, it makes a profound statement right from the get-go.
Which is?
Basically, longer lives and better health aren't just about individual happiness. They're the very source of a society's power.
Okay.
And we'll explore this through different lenses and, from the individual impacts right up to the global implications.
And it's backed by some pretty powerful economic projections.
Oh, yes. Projections that might just surprise you.
Okay, let's start small then. What does this mean for you individually?
Right.
The report frames an individual's extended healthy life. Well, not just as more time, but as a powerful economic catalyst.
How so?
It frees up your peak creative output, apparently, and speeds up accumulating wisdom.
Ah, I see. So less time wasted.
Forget doctors' waiting rooms. Imagine channeling those years directly into contribution, into creating things.
Precisely. And the authors, they aren't just talking about living longer, full stop.
Yeah.
They're envisioning these golden years.
Golden years.
Yeah, where your main focus is contribution, mentorship, creating this whole new dimension of human capital, really.
So when you're genuinely healthy, your energy, your focus, it shifts naturally towards making an impact.
Exactly. You're not just, enduring old age. You're thriving. You're contributing.
And the source uses that specific phrase, golden years. That seems like a crucial distinction, doesn't it?
It is.
It's not just adding years, but adding quality, productive, and importantly, sickness-free decades.
Right.
Why is that sickness-free part so critical here?
Well, that sickness-free aspect is basically the engine of the whole argument.
Okay.
It's the difference between just existing in advanced age and actively, meaningfully contributing.
Right.
These healthy years mean people spend way less time, fewer resources, managing chronic conditions.
Which lets them stay engaged.
Engaged, productive, independent for much, much longer. It's about adding quality life years, which is fundamentally different from just tacking on more years at the end. And that brings up the thought, what could you actually achieve with an extra 10, maybe 20 healthy golden years? When your mind is still sharp, your body's able.
That's a powerful vision for an individual, definitely. But the authors, they make an even bigger case, right?
They do.
What happens when you scale that up? Healthy longevity across a whole nation.
Yes, moving beyond the individual, the report shifts to the societal implications.
And this is where the scale of impact just blows up, isn't it?
It really does. This vision fundamentally challenges our current assumptions about aging, about societal structures.
Oh, so?
Well, the material suggests that middle-aged individuals, that feeling of immense pressure, time running out for career goals, family plans.
Yeah, midlife crunch.
That anxiety, it suggests, would largely disappear. Imagine the creative energy, the innovation unleashed if people felt they had ample time. Time to pursue multiple careers, maybe even new passions, much later in life.
Okay, so if that anxiety goes down, what's the wider ripple effect? For the economy, for society, what resources get freed up?
Ah, that's where the real transformational potential kicks in.
Right.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, think about the massive financial resources currently tied up in extensive, often reactive medical care. Insurance systems.
Huge costs.
Huge. Those resources could be redirected.
Yeah.
Instead of just managing illness after it happens.
Society could invest proactively.
Exactly. In innovation, education, vital infrastructure. It's a fundamental shift in how we use our resources,
Sure.
moving towards societal advancement, not just maintenance.
So it completely redefines what an aging population means.
Completely. It transforms it from what we often see now, a cost center, a perceived drain on public funds,
To a powerhouse.
a powerhouse of economic activity, of wisdom, of continued contribution.
Wow. Okay, a shift that big must have profound implications for national finances, too. How does the report tackle the role of governments in this?
Oh, it makes a very direct, very clear appeal to governments.
Well.
It states pretty unequivocally that national finances are most strained by escalating medical costs, long-term care, the burden of chronic diseases, and just the general societal impacts of population aging.
All big headaches.
Exactly.
Yep.
So the natural next question is, what if the solution to a nation's biggest financial headaches was also its greatest opportunity for growth, for prosperity?
Okay, that's provocative.
Yeah.
What specific tangible benefits does the source outline for governments that actually, lean into this?
It lays out clear, calculable benefits, things that would fundamentally reshape their fiscal outlook.
What?
Okay, firstly, medical spending would drop significantly as populations stay healthier for longer.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Less treatment needed.
Secondly, the aging population itself transforms from just consuming resources, as they're often seen now, to becoming a dynamic source of wealth through continued productivity, continued consumption.
So not just working longer, but contributing more broadly.
Yes, a vibrant, experienced workforce and consumer base, extending their economic contribution for many more years.
Okay, that's two. What else?
And thirdly, every individual extends their own productivity and consumption power, adding to the tax base, adding to overall economic activity for more years.
Right.
The material describes longevity technology not just as like health engineering for people, but as a crucial national engineering project designed explicitly to boost GDP/budget deficits and significantly increase tax revenues.
So it's like economic policy, but through biology.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Literally shaping national prosperity through the health and lifespan of its citizens.
So yeah, it's really not just about cutting costs. It's about actively generating new wealth, new revenue for the nation.
Exactly.
It totally reframes investing in longevity. It's fundamental economic strategy, not just a healthcare thing.
Precisely. And the scope of this vision, it expands even further. It places longevity tech in this really powerful historical context.
Okay.
Human civilization, the source argues, has always progressed, always evolved, always grown by extending lifespan and improving health.
That's a pattern.
It's a pattern etched right into our history.
That's a fascinating connection. Can you give us some examples, past leaps that kind of mirror what the authors are suggesting here?
Indeed. Think about the past. These weren't small things.
Right.
Like the arrival of widespread clean water sources. That brought about a huge, unprecedented global population boom.
Dramatically cut child mortality, too, right?
Fundamentally reshaped societies. Then think about antibiotics.
Ah, yeah. Huge.
Discovery, widespread use, sparked a major social revolution, wiped out many killer diseases, dramatically increased average life expectancy.
Okay.
The source basically posits that longevity technology will be the next global leap, on par with clean water, with antibiotics,
Wow.
suggesting it's not just a personal choice or some niche science project.
Wow.
An inevitable, essential progression for humanity.
So it's presented not just as an improvement, but as the next great inflection point for our species.
Exactly. Fundamentally changing how we live, how we organize ourselves, what we achieve together.
It's not just adding years, it's redefining the human experience itself, like we've done before.
That's the argument.
Okay, now let's get down to the specifics. The really concrete numbers provided in the source material.
It's calculations.
Yeah, using Taiwan as this powerful real-world example, this isn't just abstract theory. The authors have actually laid it out.
Right, they put numbers to it.
They start with some specific assumptions. First, a total population of 25 million. That lines up with Taiwan.
Okay.
Second, average per capita GDP of $35,000 a year. Third, healthcare spending, currently around 7% of GDP there.
Pretty standard.
And crucially, for these first calculations, the analysis assumes only 10% of the population uses this longevity-enhancing technology, just 10%.
Okay, that seems quite conservative, actually.
It does.
And with those conditions, they envision a 20-year extension of healthy lifespan. Again, Healthy life, not just life.
Right, free from debilitating illness.
And that's accompanied by a 30% reduction in healthcare costs because people are healthier.
Makes sense.
And a 15-year extension of effective productivity. Now, they account for slightly less economic contribution in the last 5 years. Maybe people shift to part-time mentorship roles.
Still 15 extra years of productivity.
Exactly. So the big question then is, what tangible, measurable economic benefits actually come out of these assumptions for a place like Taiwan?
And the numbers, they really do speak for themselves, don't they?
They do.
The source projects 2 major impacts over 20 years. And remember, this is just with 10% adoption. What are those headline figures? Healthcare savings, GDP output.
Okay, the results are pretty compelling. First, healthcare savings. An impressive $36.75 billion saved in medical costs for society.
$36.75 billion. That's a serious chunk of change freed up from just treating sickness.
It is. And second, the additional GDP output. A truly remarkable $1.3125 trillion in additional GDP generated.
Wait, say that again?
$1.3125 trillion.
Trillion. From just 1/10 of the population adopting this.
That's what the calculation shows.
Wow. Okay, over $1 trillion. That is a massive impact for one nation. How do the authors frame that? How do they interpret that scale?
Well, what's fascinating is the interpretation, the sheer scale.
Yeah.
The material interprets these results as creating economic value equivalent to generating an entire new Taiwan's GDP.
You're kidding.
Nope. Just from 10% adoption of this technology.
Oh,
It's
wow.
like adding another country's worth of economic output to the existing one.
That's hard to even grasp.
And get this.
Yeah.
If adoption were to rise to, say, 50% of the population, those numbers multiply fivefold, reaching an absolutely astounding $6.56 trillion in additional GDP.
$6.5 trillion.
This isn't just like incremental growth. The authors present it as an economic transformation on a national scale.
And the implications, they argue, don't stop at Taiwan.
Not at all. The source suggests that if you scale this globally, the economic impact of longevity technology would surpass that of any existing industry.
Any industry. Bigger than tech, bigger than energy.
That's the suggestion, a fundamental reordering of global economies.
So if we connect all this back to the bigger picture, we're really standing at a kind of historical crossroads, aren't we?
That's precisely how it's framed. The choice for longer, healthier lives is presented very clearly, not just as a personal wish, but as a direct choice for stronger societies, richer nations.
Yeah.
This deep dive into the analysis from Fuqi Wu and Steve 88, it provides really compelling, calculable evidence.
Yeah.
Extending health and longevity isn't some sci-fi fantasy.
No.
It's a present-day economic imperative, something we can actually quantify right now.
Absolutely. And those figures from Taiwan, I mean, $36.75 billion saved on healthcare, $1.3 trillion in extra GDP over 20 years, just from 10% adoption. It just hammers home the profound, tangible power of this longevity technology. It's presented as an economic lever we can pull, like today.
Right, which then leads us, and you listening, to consider.
Yeah.
Given these massive economic and societal implications for individuals, for nations, for the whole global economy,
Yeah.
how should we prioritize this?
How should individuals, governments, global communities invest in the science of extending healthy human life?
What's your role and what the authors see as this inevitable progression?
As the authors put it so eloquently, youth extended, healthy aging, this is not just a dream, but our reality right before our eyes. So how do these insights reshape the decisions you make today? About your own health, sure, but also your long-term plans. And the future we're all building together, the numbers are in, and they seem to be telling us a very, very clear story about our potential.